Good afternoon, fourth grade. We're going to continue reading in the Red Pyramid today, chapter 5. We're going to finish it up. Before we begin reading, I want you to fill out this fill in the blank summary to refresh your memory. It says, Sadie and Carter visit Thoth at the University of Memphis. Thoth sends them on a mission to get something from a magician's tomb to help them defeat Set. Sadie and Carter pass Thoth's test, and he tells them to go down the river to the land of the dead to get the feather of truth from Anubis. Press pause to fill in the blanks. You can also rewind and press play when you're ready for the focus question. Our focus questions for today are, how does Sadie's interaction with Anubis impact her? And how does Sadie's interaction with Anubis advance the plot? Our vocabulary words are vessel, that's a boat, cataract, a waterfall, and chide, that's when an adult gets on to someone because they did something wrong. So this mother is chiding her son because he broke a window. Great. We're going to turn to we're going to read pages 120 through 124 using our CSPS strategy. And so Carter and Sadie have left Thoth and they're going on their family's boat or vessel down to the land of the dead. And Bass is with them. They have a captain whose head is a blade, a bloody blade. And while they're at dinner, Carter brings up the paper that fell out of the book they got from Thoth. And Bass tells them, yes, the cat is me. And that snake is Apophis, or Apep from our story about Thoth. They're same person, different name. And basically, Ra trapped Bast in, he trapped her with Apophis, who is the embodiment of chaos. He's like the ultimate evil, way more evil than Set. And she was supposed to fight Apophis. And that's what she was doing when their dad released her at Cleopatra's Needle. And so now we are unsure where Apophis is. Bass is relieved that she doesn't have to fight Apophis anymore because it was really tiring. But it makes them think about just, the big picture and, defeating Set. But even if they do defeat Set, they're probably going to have to defeat Apophis at some point as well. And so anyways, they take their boat down. The boat goes down a cataract or a waterfall into the land of the dead. And they finally arrive. And so we'll start at the bottom of this page. All right, and so it says, we'll track Carter's thoughts. Deep in the temple, we found a large circular chamber. The center of the room was dominated by a set of broken scales. Welcome to the last room you will ever see. The Hall of Judgment was once the center of Ma'at, but without Osiris seated at his throne, it has fallen into ruin. I spotted a strange figure at the base of the scales. Is that Ammit the Devourer? Look upon him and tremble. I've always imagined him bigger. Turn the page. Ammit only has to be big enough to eat the hearts of the wicked. Trust me, he does his job well. So basically, the dead would come to this room and their heart would be weighed against the feather of truth on this scale. And if their heart was as light as the feather of truth, meaning they lived a good life, they got to go into the afterlife. And if their heart sank, meaning it was heavier than the feather of truth, that meant that they had lived an evil life, and Amit ate their heart, and they, didn't get to go to the afterlife. Okay? So there's this dog up here that's like, grrr. And then, or he did it well, at least. Without Osiris, the souls no longer arrive. So now people can't go into the Hall of Judgment because Osiris isn't there to weigh their hearts, and so everyone is like lost. Arr, this dog is attacking. There was a snarling noise, and a huge black shape leaped out of the mist. Arr, 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 meow. Grrr. Bass ran scared, and the jackal turned and looked at us. Only it wasn't a jackal anymore. Humph, I'm not a dog. The jackal morphed into a young man, and my heart almost stopped. Anubis was drop-dead gorgeous, and you're not dead. No, they were trying awfully hard. I see. Khufu explained everything. Apparently, baboon speak was more efficient than human languages because he told the whole story in a few barks. So you're Horus, which means you must be... I'm not Isis. I mean, Isis is milling around inside, but I'm not her. She's just visiting. And the two of you intend to challenge Set? That's the general idea. Will you help? It depends. Let us talk. A fog rose from the floor. Soon I was lost in it. Okay, we'll stop right here. And it asks us to describe our characters. And so we know Carter, Sadie, and Bast went to the Hall of Judgment to meet Anubis. Carter, Sadie, and Bast went to the Hall of Judgment to meet Anubis. All right, and you can take a quote from over here, one of Sadie's thoughts. And our setting, Carter and Sadie are in the Hall of Judgment. But on the next page, Anubis takes Sadie to a graveyard, so you need to include that too in the setting. Carter, Sadie, and Bast arrived at the Hall of Judgment, and Anubis took Sadie to a graveyard to talk. And that's where we are. You can put this Sadie's quote on the top of the next page for 2B. And on this page, we want to think about Sadie and Anubis' problem and how that problem might be solved. Press pause to write down your answers for numbers 1 and 2 and play when you're ready for the top of page 122. When Anubis' fog cleared, we were standing somewhere else, some sort of graveyard by the looks of it. Where'd Carter and Khufu go? What happened to your little Hall of Judgment? It's not my hall. I merely oversee it until Lord Osiris returns. Please take a seat. I wanted to speak to you in private. Horus can be pushy and arrogant. He thinks he's better than me. But Isis always treated me like a son. You're not my son. I told you I'm not Isis. Your soul has a similar glow. Flattering, my soul glows. Where are we? New Orleans. I love it here. That's why the Hall of Judgment often connects to this part of the mortal world. I'm hosted by places of death and mourning. Graveyards such as this one work best. I live for death. You must be a lot of fun at parties. Sadie's making a joke. She has a crush on Anubis, but she's trying not to give it away. So she's like acting disinterested. Okay? As the god of funerals, I'm afraid I can't help you until after Set kills you. No, that's no use. Part of me had hoped there was an actual body sitting next to me, someone hosting a guy like me. But I should have known it was too good to be true. It's not like there's any potential, Sadie, I chided myself. He's the bloody god of funerals. He's like 5,000 years old. Okay. So, at this point, Anubis doesn't think he can help Sadie because he deals with death, and if Set kills her, then it's obviously too late. And so we're at the top of the next page. Thoth said, "You have the feather of truth. Will you give it to us?" "I cannot give it to a mortal. Giving it to a mortal would be against the rules of Osiris. But Osiris isn't here. The 5 have been released. Lord Osiris will reclaim his throne soon. That's not going to happen. Osiris is trapped inside my dad." The baboon did not explain this. Well, I can't explain as well as a baboon, but basically my dad wanted to release gods for reasons I haven't completely figured out. When Dad released Osiris, out came Set. Set imprisoned my father, who'd become Osiris's host. This means Osiris has also been trapped by Set. Set's your father, I'm guessing? Is that it? That's what the myths say. I've never met him. My mother Nephthys gave me to Osiris when I was a child. Osiris raised me. I owe him everything. You understand then, you've got to help us. Are you always this infuriating? Usually more. Oh, hang on, I missed a box. He says, "I can't, I'll get in trouble." You'll get in trouble? How old are you? 16? You're a god. Are you always this infuriating? Usually more. It's a wonder your family hasn't married you off to somewhere far, far away. Excuse me, death boy, but I'm 12, well, almost 13, and very mature, almost 13, but that's not the point. We don't marry off girls in my family. Okay, and so when we're thinking about Sadie's problem, she wants Anubis to give her the feather of truth, but he says he can't give it to a mortal. All right, and you can use a quote from the top of this page or over here. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 4A. And Sadie tries to solve the problem by convincing Anubis that he won't get in trouble because he's a god. Who is going to get him in trouble? Is basically what she says. And you can use this quote from Sadie for 4B. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the paragraph. How does Sadie's interaction with Anubis impact her? And so you need to think about, how does Sadie respond to Anubis? Think about her thoughts down here. When she first meets him, she, says her heart stopped. She thinks he's drop dead gorgeous. If we keep going and you look at the pictures, she acts like nervous around him, and then she tries to act disinterested, and at the bottom of this page, she chides herself. She's like, you shouldn't have a crush on him. He's like 1,000 years old. Okay, so think about how her interaction with Anubis has impacted her. She has a crush on him, and you need evidence from the text.